Hi everybody, it is right at 12 o'clock, so we are going to go ahead and get started here with the webinar. We certainly want to be respectful of everyone's time. We're really happy that you can join us here today for the Rollins Earn and Learn webinar. My name is Emily Lakemaker and I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment and Student Life. I'm going to run over some logistics here at the top and then I'm going to turn it over to Sahar, who is our Real Program Manager, and she's going to run through the program itself. So first up, we are recording this, so if you have to dip out early or if something goes wrong on your end technically and you can't hear for whatever reason, we are recording this and we will be posting it to our YouTube channel, and we usually get those up within 3 to 5 days after the live event. And Sahar will be sending out an email to all those that registered with the direct link to that, so you can go back and check that out as needed. The system itself was giving us little issues as we were initially trying to log in, so hopefully we got that all taken care of. But if anything does go wrong and it shuts down, we'll try to get it started back up, and worst case scenario, we may just record it on our own and then post the webinar for you guys to watch later on, just not at a live time. But either way, we'll be sure to get this information to you one way or the other. And then finally, the way we'll do this is we'll go through the entire presentation itself. As you have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the question box. It should be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can see my cursor up here. And type those in, and then at the end, we'll read them aloud, and Sahar will answer them, and we will get through as many as we can in the hour or so that we have allotted for this, and any that we don't get to, we'll be able to touch base with you and make sure that we get all your questions answered directly. So I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sahar and let her get started.
Hi everybody, my name is Sahar Salik. I am the Real Program Manager here at Rollins School of Public Health. Thank you all for joining us today. This will be a very informative session, as I know you guys are gearing up and preparing for your move or start here at Rollins, so we're really excited to share more about the program and get you guys started. So a little bit of history before I get to the bullet points here. This program started we're going into what I believe is our 6th year here of having the Rollins Earn and Learn program. It started a few years back, 6 years ago, when federal work study had been eliminated for our graduate students here at the School of Public Health. Dean Curran, who you'll eventually meet once you're here, thought it was very, very important for our students to continue having applied work experience while they were pursuing their master's. So essentially, we created a version of the federal work study program, but it's our own internal program, and it's funded by the Dean's office. So it's fantastic that we have the funding and the budget to be able to support this type of employment for our students. So what is exactly REAL? And I'm just going to refer to the Rollins Earn and Learn program as REAL for short. Well, actually, it's an applied work experience program for eligible full-time MPH and MSPH students. It offers part-time on or off-campus work with partnering employers, and I'll share a little bit more about what our partnering employers look like. It allows for the opportunity for you to earn up to $2,000 each semester, so a potential for up to $4,000 within the academic year, and it provides an opportunity to be mentored by a seasoned public health professional or healthcare professional as well. To be able to participate in the REAL program, you must have received the REAL award in your financial aid package on Opus. So at this point, all of our incoming students know whether they've received the REAL award or not. If it shows up in your package, it means you received it. If it does not show up in your package, it means you did not receive it. I will share a little bit more later about how to become eligible for your 2nd year as well, but for now, your eligibility is for your 1st year. It provides you the opportunity for public health experiences in federal, state, county, and other government agencies, for-profit and nonprofit organizations, and then, of course, Emory affiliates, Emory Healthcare, and Emory University at large. And the way the program is, why we're able to support so many students through the REAL program is because there's a 50-50 salary split between Emory and the partnering organizations or partnering departments that we work with. So as part of your salary, half of it's coming from us, and the other half is coming from, let's say, whether you're working at CDC or CARE or American Cancer Society or the, Department of Epidemiology. So students can work at a rate of $12 per hour. This is a standard rate for our graduate students here at the School of Public Health. You can work up to a maximum of 166.5 hours each semester. The reason that number is a little wonky is because that $2,000 in earnings divided by $12 per hour comes out to 166.5 hours per semester. The average that students typically work in their real positions is about 10 to 15 hours per week, but you are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. And certainly, perhaps, you may be under 10 hours per week, just depending on the ebb and flow of work content that you have. And your positions are typically 1 to 2 semesters in length. I will say that we're gearing up for the fall recruitment cycle, which is all what you guys are preparing for if you're interested in pursuing a real position. And I would say about 80% of the students who find a job for the fall semester continue with the same position in the spring semester. And that's typically what a lot of employers are looking for in order to be able to have a student working with them long enough to make some impact and get well-oriented and situated with a project or task. Another important note, the second bullet point, is that the award amount is not applied to your tuition bill. It also is not a lump sum, some stipend that you receive beforehand. It's earned based, if you apply for a job and the employer decides to hire you, then you're hired at $12 per hour. So you're paid biweekly through Emory's payroll. Every 2 weeks you're paid. So again, it's not money that you receive up front. You're not guaranteed that full $2,000 per semester. You have to actually work at $12 per hour. And if you work the full 166.5, you'll receive $2,000 each semester. Another important note, this is the third bullet point, and it's something I stress to students all the time. Students are allowed employment in only one position funded through REAL at a given time or within a given semester. However, a student employee may hold both a real position and a non-real position simultaneously. So what this means is that you're not allowed to use your real award for multiple positions in a given semester. Furthermore, you're not allowed to, let's say, use your real position with one organization the first half of the semester, and in the second half of the semester use it with another organization. So once you commit to a specific organization and you have accepted their offer, your funding will be used for that specific position only. If for some reason you decide to change your position in the spring semester, which you certainly have the opportunity to do so, you're allowed to do that. But within a given semester, you can't be switching around or using your award for multiple positions simultaneously. And then lastly, any earnings that you make, as I mentioned earlier, are deposited on a biweekly basis every 2 weeks based on the number of hours you've worked. Please keep in mind, and this will come up later on in the presentation as well, you are technically hired as an Emory employee. So in your tax records, all that sort of stuff, you show up as an Emory graduate student employee. You just happen to either work on-site or off-site based off of the organization that you're working with. So just keep that in mind. All right. So to give you an idea of kind of the description of the positions and what to expect as you're applying for these jobs. So the positions in the REAL program are designed to be public health competency-based in order to provide you with some professional development and skills learning while you're pursuing your master's degree. The areas of skills that you may be enhancing may be analytical or assessment, policy development, communication, cultural competency, public health sciences, financial planning and management, and perhaps leadership as well. And we do this based off of the counsel on linkages between academia and public health practices. It's not something that necessarily all organizations are aware of, but as we're engaging with partner organizations or departments, we're reminding them that you guys are master of public health students, and that you're looking to enhance your skill sets while you're pursuing your master's. And so the most beneficial thing is to focus on one or a few of these general areas as they're drafting up job descriptions that you would be eventually applying to. So to give you an idea of some of the type of work being done, this is just a small snippet of the type of opportunities our students have had over the years, but perhaps you're working on a manuscript prep, you're doing some form of health promotion or health education, you're doing disease prevention, perhaps you're doing focus groups, you're writing up interview guides, you're perhaps doing lab work or policy research for health issues or lit reviews, some form of education or other program planning and evaluation, and certainly much, much more. But this kind of gives you a snapshot of the types of opportunities our students have had over the years with multiple different organizations. All right, so to give you an idea of kind of award eligibility and how you got to where you are. All right, so how do you get REAL? Again, obviously you've already received REAL, but I want you to be aware of how you actually received it. Some of you may have not heard about the program before you applied and only noticed the award once you received your financial aid package. So this specific slide applies for our U.S. citizen and permanent resident students. You received the REAL award because you completed the FAFSA for this coming academic year, which is 2016-2017. There was no separate application process. We award the REAL award based on a first-come, first-served basis. We only have so much funding each year to be able to award all our students, so it's first-come, first-served. And your eligibility was determined by the Office of Financial Aid here at Emory based on, again, how much funds we have, the day you submitted your completed FAFSA, so the earlier you had submitted it, the better, the date of admission if you are an incoming student. The date of admission obviously doesn't apply for rising second-year students, but for incoming it does, which, for example, means some students reached out to me. They said, hey, I submitted my FAFSA in January, but I wasn't submitted until May. Well, you know what? Towards the end of spring, we had, at that point, already awarded all of our funding, so that's a reason why a student may have not received it because they were admitted much later. You also have to be a part of the full-time program. Doesn't mean you're a part of a part-time program, but you are taking full-term credits. Means you must be a part of the full-time enrollment to be eligible for REAL. You also must be a citizen or permanent resident of the U.S. I'll have a separate slide for our international students coming up soon. And you must maintain satisfactory progress as you go through your semesters here. Please note it is not a need-based program. And in order for you to be considered again for the REAL award in your second year, you'll need to resubmit your FAFSA, which becomes available in January of 2017 if you'd like to be considered for the award in your second year. All right, so for incoming international visa students, F1 visa students, starting at the beginning of last year, we actually just expanded the award to include our first-year international students. In years prior, it's always only been our second-year international students who were eligible to apply for the award. But now, international students with F1 visas are eligible for the REAL award beginning their second semester of the first year of the program. Typically what happens is around mid-October, so in a couple months, I send out an application to our first-year F1 visa international students, and they apply with a separate application since the FAFSA is not available to international students. And so they complete this application, very similar information that the FAFSA collects. They send it back to me and we award, and should a student receive the award, then it would be for their spring semester only, so please keep in mind. If they want to be considered again for their second year as an international student here at Rollins, that application is sent out later in the spring. So again, this slide was specifically for incoming F1 visa international students. For our rising second year F1 visa international students, you're eligible to apply, as I mentioned, in the spring semester of your first year, and if you're awarded, it would be actually for the following, both fall and spring semesters of your second year. Typically, I send those applications out in mid-March. And again, for domestic students and U.S. Citizen students, please note that the FAFSA becomes available around January of 2017 if you want to be considered again for your second year. All right, so how to accept or decline your REAL award. The reason I'm sharing this slide and this information is that some of you have chosen that perhaps you are still deciding on whether you want to even apply for jobs yet, or you just want to go and see what jobs are out there. Perhaps you kind of want to see how the first few weeks of classes go. Some of you have made the decision that you don't want to have the REAL award in the fall semester and have declined it, but you'd like to keep it for the spring semester. So again, check your financial aid package. You can do this by logging into Opus. Look under Finances, under the link Financial Aid. If you know that you intend to participate, please accept your award in Opus by August 1st. The reason for this is it just gives us an idea of how many students are really looking for jobs, and it gives us an accurate count. If you really do know that you're not accepting the award for fall semester or for this entire year, please go ahead and decline it as well. That gives us a better idea of how many students are actively potentially looking for jobs as well. So if you decide to decline your REAL award, please email me as soon as possible. My email address is right there. Again, some students participate in fall only or spring only. It may be the fact that they have a heavy course load or they have other extracurricular activities or other jobs they're committed to and just don't have the time for it. So there's no penalty to declining your award. If you decline your fall award, then you lose the funds for that. It does not roll over to the spring semester, and it does not roll over to your second semester. So once you decline it, it's gone. Declining the award for fall semester has no impact on your eligibility to participate in the spring semester or vice versa, and it doesn't impact your eligibility for your second year either. If for some reason you did register for this webinar but you did not receive REAL, if REAL was not a part of your financial aid package for this upcoming year, then you can always submit your FAFSA again in January of 2017. If students decline their award, there may be some limited funds that become available which we can reallocate, but if we do that, we would continue down the queue that we already have, which is again based off of the date that students had submitted their completed FAFSA. So there's no separate wait list. If we are able to allocate any funds, should they become available, then we just continue down that queue and we'd contact the student individually. All right, so moving on into REAL versus Practicum. There's a lot of students that may use you'll learn about Practicum once you're here at Rollins if you haven't already learned about it, but it is a curricular requirement requiring a specific number of hours that you need to complete related to your degree, working with a particular organization or department, and applying that towards your MPH or MSPH degree. So REAL versus Practicum, just to make some distinctions so you can plan or think about this as you're starting up here at Rollins. So again, REAL is an applied work experience program that provides paid opportunities for our students. REAL requires a student in an employer hire process, and the number of hours worked per week varies for the job. It's determined by your employer, the amount of work that you have, and if you wish to actually work the full 166.5 hours you're able to work in a semester. This program, the REAL program, is actually run out of the Student Services Office. I am the sole program manager of the program, so I'm the point of contact for the REAL program. In terms of Practicum experiences are a curricular requirement to graduate. You can only start it after your first semester here at Rollins, where you've at least completed 9 credit hours. It requires a learning agreement and an evaluation with the preceptor. REAL programs has one, but it's not a requirement. We just encourage students and their employer to complete one if they'd like. Practicums can be paid or unpaid, and depending on your department or any requirements, it can be anywhere from 200 to 400 hours. I advise you to just check with your department advisor specifically. And again, practicums are overseen by an experienced field supervisor and under the guidance of your ADAP and Practicum faculty advisor. So I'm not able to advise on Practicum and the requirements that you need for your specific department, but as you're considering REAL positions, perhaps the opportunity that you decide to accept can actually fit within that Practicum requirement so that you can kind of be, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're able to use the hours from your REAL position to apply for your Practicum. But there are plenty of students that perhaps don't use their REAL position for their Practicum requirements. For part of their Practicum requirements, they may fulfill their Practicum requirements between their first and second year during the summer. So just keep in mind, REAL and Practicum are not the same thing. I also wanted to give you an idea of the number of students. I failed to mention this earlier, but the number of students that actually receive the REAL award here at Rollins is about 50%. So 50% of our students across first year and second year have received the REAL award, to give you an idea. A little bit more about the differences. We some similarities as well. We both focus on public health competencies. Your REAL supervisors may be or may not be RSPH faculty. Actually, for Practicum, your Practicum preceptors may not be faculty members, and that's based off of accreditation requirements. Going back to REAL, the third bullet point, some external REAL employers may agree to do the additional work with you to apply your REAL position towards the Practicum. Again, if you're thinking about using this REAL experience for your Practicum requirements, speak with your ADAP, your Practicum advisor, or your supervisor to see if it's a possibility, and you should be having discussions about this or thinking about this at the beginning of the employment period, not sort of as an afterthought or anything. And also keep in mind the last bullet point on the left, that any hours you complete for your real position in the first semester of your first year here at Rollins may not be applied towards your practicum, because practicum hours can only begin after your first semester here at Rollins. All right, to give you an idea of some of our partner employers that we've worked with over the years, again, what are some of the real work sites our students are working at? This is to give you an idea. Well, that includes all of our Emory University, Emory Healthcare, and Emory affiliated organizations. They're already pre-approved as real employers. So that includes Rollins, that includes our Emory University departments, our Emory Healthcare, School of Medicine, School of Nursing, and even the Carter Center and the Task Force for Global Health. They're already all pre-approved, so it makes it a little bit easier for these organizations to be able to partner with us. To give you an idea of the 500 plus students that are employed through the REAL program each year, we have about 200 students that have positions with these Emory University, Emory Healthcare, Emory affiliated organizations. In terms of our approved external partners, we have about, that includes the CDC, federal agencies, nonprofits, for-profits, and community-based organizations. We typically have about 250 students that are working with these organizations, and we currently have about over 90 approved external partners, and we're always looking for more. So the reason I say that is some of you are coming from previous years of work experience, other organizations you may have worked with, perhaps here in the Atlanta area, and if so, we'd love for you to connect the organization with us to see if they can potentially hire you through the REAL program. Please keep in mind, they're actually, and I'll explain this a little bit later on, our students actually are allowed to work with organizations remotely. The past couple of years, we had an organization in New Orleans and an organization up in Boston that our students were working remotely with. That is, they were here in Atlanta, but they were able to do the work online via the internet, email, or conference calls. Here is a list of just some of our approved external partners. Certainly we have much, much more over the years, but this kind of just gives you an idea of some of the organizations that we've worked with. One of our biggest external employers is the CDC, which hires over 150 of our students each academic year. All right, so a note about external organizations. Again, they must be pre-approved to be able to work with the REAL program. If they've already been approved and have hired students in the past, then they're able to hire again. But if it's a new organization, we just have to get them to sign a new contract with us to be able to hire. We just want to make sure they are able to meet the partner agreements as well as the salary split. So if you wish to work with a particular organization, just shoot me an email. It would be best if you just connected us both via email and I can speak with that organization directly. All right, so this part of the presentation is going to get a little bit more dry than it already is, but it's the step-by-step process, the important reminders, and the timeline. All of this information, I know it's a lot at once, but honestly, the questions that keep coming up from students are really answered here in this webinar. We capture this again in the orientation that you have during orientation week as well, but you're getting all of this information beforehand. You're feeling comfortable in the information, and these next few slides will be really important as well. All right, so how does the process exactly work for you as a student now that you have the REAL award and you want to apply for jobs? All right, so our first step is that I'm working right now with employers to create and post job descriptions. Those are going to go live on August 1. That's the date you want to remember. August 1 is when postings go live on our student job site, which is known as the ROL, or the Rollins Opportunities link. In the last week of July, you're going to receive an email from our Office of Career Development, separate office from Student Services, separate office from the REAL program. They're going to send you information about the ROL, the Rollins Opportunities link, how you can access your account, and how you can kind of navigate the system to be able to apply for jobs. That system holds both REAL positions and non-REAL positions as well. So it also includes part-time positions, full-time positions, the whole gamut. But you'll be introduced to that in the next week or so. Second step is once you're able to log in, beginning August 1, you're able to apply for positions that are posted on the job site. Also keep in mind that not all jobs are going to be posted right on August 1. We start posting August 1, and as employers begin to engage with us over the next month and a half to 2 months, we'll continue to post positions on a rolling basis. So students apply for positions that are posted, or you can initiate the development of a position with approval. So if there's an organization you want to work with, we haven't worked with before, you have some connection to them, get us connected, and we can see if there's an opportunity to develop a real position for you there. Step 3. So as you apply for any positions that you're interested, the employers review applications, they conduct the interviews, and they extend offers. So just like applying for a real job is just applying for any other real world job that's out there. You're not guaranteed a job. You're not guaranteed an interview by us. You receiving the real award is no guarantee. It's just a guarantee that you have the opportunity to apply for these positions that have been labeled and designated as Rollins Earn and Learn positions. And again, the reason they're designated as real positions is because we've already had some form of agreement with the organization that will be splitting your $12 salary at 50-50. So for them, they need to be aware of this commitment beforehand. Step 4, if for some reason you receive an offer or multiple offers and you do accept one of them only, when you accept that offer, the supervisor completes your paperwork and sends it over to me. I then route it to our HR, which it typically takes about 5 to 10 business days for them to process your paperwork. And once you're set up in your assignment, you'll receive an email from our HR, and so will your supervisor, that you can start working. You can work up to 20 hours per week for a maximum of 166 and a half in a semester. Keep in mind that if you're working at 20 hours per week, you're going to burn through your award allotment much faster than if you were to work about 10 hours per week. All right, so the job search for you, your account, again, your Handshake. That's also the name of the ROL or the Rollins Opportunities Link. Handshake is the name of the software. That account for you to be able to log into the job site will be activated. Office of Career Development will send you instructions on that in the next week and a half. Again, August 1, you can start applying for jobs. Ongoing, that'll happen between August 1 and October 7th. I'll talk a little bit more about timelines later on, but positions will continue to be posted there, and then you have until Friday, October 7th to secure a position or your fall award will be forfeited. Again, if you do not secure something for the fall or you decline your real award, it does not roll over to the spring. You just use it or lose it. The earliest start dates for you, if it's a non-CDC position, it is September 1, and that's only if you obviously accepted an offer and your hiring paperwork has been fully completed and processed by your HR. 9/1 is the earliest start date. October 3rd is the earliest start date for a CDC, and again, that's only if all of the hiring paperwork has been completed on both ends, you've received federal security clearance, etc. The reason for the later CDC start date is just because of the federal funding cycle they have over at the CDC. Their annual funding begins the very beginning of October, so that's why that date is set for October 3rd here. All right. So here's a summary of the entire process. I'm going to give you a second to kind of look through it again. I've talked through this a bit. You apply for jobs. If you get an interview, you interview. If the employer extends an offer, let's say you accept that offer, they complete the hire work, route it to me. I route it to HR for processing. During this time, step 7, there's a couple steps you need to take care of, which is your I-9 documents and online orientation. Again, this is in step 7 line over there. I will talk about that in the next few slides because that's important information. It takes HR about 5 to 10 business days for processing. You have to hang tight. You are not allowed to start working. You can't even offer to start working, doing some pre-work for free. This again is a state and federal compliance issue, so you need to just hang tight until you get clearance to start working. HR will notify you and your supervisor when you're allowed to start working. You'll get some timekeeping information. You'll receive information about how you can clock in from your cell phone or a landline at the work site. And then you're allowed to work up to that 166 and a half hours should there be, that fit within your workload and what the organization has for you as well. If you're continuing with the same position through the spring, then you can begin working again as early as January 2nd. So what we expect from students, if you're not going to use your award, please decline your award as soon as possible. Just shoot me an email or go ahead and decline that in Opus yourself. The application process, like any other job, is very competitive. We want you to apply early and we want you to apply often. I can't stress that enough. Apply early and apply often. There are plenty of students who will go in August 1st, they'll apply for like 5 jobs, and they'll just hang tight until September rolls around, and then they'll wonder why they haven't received any interview offers or heard back from any employers. And again, keep in mind there are over 500 students that are eligible to be applying for the positions we have out there. So we want you to apply for any positions that interest you or you believe that you're qualified to apply for. So apply early and apply often. Complete the process on your end in a timely manner. Be familiar with the policies we outline in our student guidebook. That'll be sent to you in the next week or so. And then if you do accept an offer with an employer, establish a work schedule and stick to it. This is the #1 concern and complaint of our employers, is that students are constantly changing their work schedule and work hours within a week. We want you to be in communication with your employer or supervisor. If you know you have midterms or exams or reports coming up, communicate that earlier on, perhaps 2 weeks in advance. Give them a heads up if you feel like your workload may need to be reduced for a week for some exam studying, etc. If you have issues with your position, you have questions, we want you to be proactive. We want you to ask those questions with your supervisor. Address it with them. If you perhaps don't know how to address an issue or something you want to talk to us first, please reach out to me. I am here for that. I'm your real program manager. I can help you answer some of those questions or help kind of navigate some of the challenges, or if it's something that's actually a severe critical issue, I'll step in as well. So come keep in communication with us and reach out to me. Please conduct yourself professionally. That includes your dress behavior, your productivity, your communication with your supervisor and the coworkers that you have. Track your hours. Be honest about the hours that you have worked. It is fraudulent to be clocking in hours that are not accurate. The work hours limits are listed in the second to last bullet point, and then the last bullet point, there's a break for winter when you're not allowed to work between December 17th and January 1st. So that's the lapse between your first and second semesters. Also, since you are an Emory University employee, you are not allowed to work on Emory University holidays. So that's all captured in the timeline calendar that I have at the end of this presentation. All right. So this slide is a slide that I can't stress enough. I just wanted to stress an important real program policy. We'll talk about this again in the in-person orientation we have with you, and it's also outlined in our real student guidebook, but is often overlooked by students. We want you to honor the commitment made to work the full semester. When students accept a position, please understand that a commitment has been made to work for that employer for at least one semester. Obviously, if things are grave, something's very serious, something's very wrong, we'll work with you, to see if we can, help support your situation, find someone else, perhaps just terminate that position early on. But when you commit to a position, you've accepted an offer, what this means is that your expectation is that you discontinue searching or applying for any other real positions. I do not want you accepting a position with the CDC and then having that employer be under the perception or understanding that you've accepted an offer, but then on the back end you're going ahead and applying for other positions at CARE or American Cancer Society or other departments. When an employer reaches out to you for an interview, we want you to be honest about already having secured a real position elsewhere. So if for some reason, some other job you applied to a month ago, they reach out to you for an interview, as exciting that interview may be, if you've already accepted a real position elsewhere, you need to commit to that position that you've already accepted. So why is this important? Well, we don't want to set a precedent where our real students are accepting offers and then switching or backing out. This impacts our employer relations and the time that organizations have spent interviewing students, etc. Student always has the option to find a new real position in the spring semester should they find or decide that they will not be continuing in their fall semester real position. Furthermore, we really want to keep a positive relationship with the organizations that we partner with who help employ so many of our students, over 500 of them, year after year. All right. What should you expect from us? Well, I'm getting ready for you guys to get over here to Rollins and start your master's programs, which means I'm working with organizations to help create positions and get them posted on August 1 and be posted on a rolling basis thereafter. I'm working on your guidebooks, which I'll have out to you in the next week and a half or so, certainly before August 1. Working on updating the REAL website for this coming academic year, renewing contracts with our organizations, recruiting new organizations. We're conducting some on-site employer organizations to get them engaged with you guys to see if we can get more opportunities for you to apply to. And we're working with our career development office here at Rollins to set up access to Handshake, or what's also known as the ROL, or the Rollins Opportunities link, so that you can begin applying for jobs on August 1. All right. Next steps. When will you receive more information about REAL? I'll send this all to you in a recap email in the next about week and a half or so before August 1, so you have all this information in writing. You're certainly also welcome to review this webinar, but if you're specifically looking for some information, that follow-up email will be very helpful for you. So how should you prepare on your end? Update your resume now. Go ahead and look at the Career Development website. They've got some great general information and some PDF packets about how you can best prepare your resume and cover letter. Obviously, you'll tweak a cover letter based off of the organization you're applying to, but it'll give you some great general information. And go ahead and get those resumes in shape as well. They've got some great templates and examples for you to refer to, and there's great resources online as well. Certainly, once you start here at Rollins, you'll have the opportunity to meet with our Office of Career Development as well, at which point you can always share your resume with them in person. So on the next slide, number 2, bullet point, I'm going to share some more information about this, but you have an online orientation you need to complete for HR, as well as the I-9 documents you need to provide. We usually like to collect this information from our students, whether they've accepted a real position offer or not, so that we just, in the situation that you do accept a real offer, we've already got some of the hiring information we need to be able to get you processed. Go ahead and check out some of the websites of the improved employers we've worked with in the past, just to get an idea of the types of organizations. Also, go ahead and look at your student schedule of classes to assess how many hours of work you really think you'll be able to work. Perhaps your class schedule is totally spread out across one day, so you know you won't be able to work at all on Mondays. Keep that in mind. And then lastly, also just, keep in mind the fact that you need transportation to these job sites. So if you don't have a car, or if you don't live somewhere near public transportation, or you do, either way, keep that in mind. Keep transportation in mind, because there are some opportunities that may be a CDC campus that's not the one right next to Rollins, but it's the CDC campus that's about a 20-minute drive away from here. And so if that's the case, I want you to be aware of transportation, so that if you do receive an interview, just get some clarification if you don't have a car to get you up there. All right, so please pay attention to the next 4 slides. This is some stuff you need to take care of before you show up here at Rollins, and it'll be very helpful for you. Mark your calendar to attend one of these mandatory real orientation sessions below. You should have already received a registration link of some sort, or if not, you will soon from Emily Lakemaker's team.
It went out today.
It went out today, okay.
Today.
So go ahead, you have 2 windows to be able to sign up for this orientation session, either Tuesday at 10 a.m. or Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Both have the same information, they're just 2 different time offerings. I know we've got some second year first-time real awardees who are joining this webinar. If you are, you have an orientation, again, that is mandatory on the 24th. Our F1 visa international students, you have one on the 25th. For anyone who was not able to make any of their sessions on the previous dates, there is kind of a pickup session on the 31st, so Wednesday, August 31st. But again, for incoming students, for any student that's receiving the Real Award for the first time, you must attend one of these orientation sessions specific to you. It is required. Bring your Emory University ID or your driver's license or some form of government issue ID, because we'll be keeping track of attendance to make sure you actually attended. And you will not be, should you accept a real position and we find out you have not attended one of our the real orientation, then we will not allow for you to begin working just yet. All right. So if you take some of these steps below, if you take all these steps below now, you'll save time later. So in order to facilitate the hiring process, please complete the steps below as soon as possible. Should you be hired by an employer through the REAL program, then our HR department here at Rollins will already have access to these required documents, making your hiring process much, much faster. So go ahead and step 1, go ahead and click on that link and complete your online orientation. You'll receive more step-by-step information of this in the student guidebook, but you can go ahead and take a look at that now. If you click on number 2, if you click on that link, it'll show you what your I-9 documents are. Be prepared to show these original I-9 documents with you when you come to Rollins. Be prepared to bring them. So for example, I-9 documents can include either your passport or, for example, your driver's license plus your social security card. So those are 2 forms of I-9 documents. There's a further list at that link over there. Step 3, take those I-9 documents, so for example your passport, and scan and email that to RSPH HR Help. That way our HR department receives it here. It must be a really clear copy for them. They'll go ahead and make an electronic file for you and stick it in there, but they still want to see the original, so please be sure to bring the original with you as well. They're going to have some tabling schedules when they'll have some tables set up, and you can just swing by and show your passport, and you can let them know, hey, yeah, I already emailed you a copy, just want to show you, be sure to show you the original version in person. Or if for some reason you forgot to email it ahead of time, they'll go ahead and scan it then, and then also view the original document at that time. Those sessions, tabling sessions, will be on the 23rd and 24th of August while you're here for orientation. If for some reason you are not able to show up one of those tables, you can always swing by HR, and I'll have dates and times later on to be announced. All right, so here are those important dates and times when HR is actually collecting your I-9 documents. Go ahead and mark those down. All right. Lastly, some important dates for you to keep in mind for this upcoming academic year. I put in red the most important ones. Again, August 1 is when you can start applying for jobs. Go ahead, apply early, apply often, apply to ones that you're interested in. Don't panic if you don't see something you're not interested in just yet. Again, we just start posting on a rolling basis after August 1, and there are plenty of organizations that continue to post through mid-September or so. September 1 or October 3rd, if you're a CDC hire, are your earliest start dates. Again, that's only if you've fully gone through the hiring process and received clearance from the Rollins HR department. And then the last day for you to be able to secure a real position is October 7th, so that's your deadline. That means I cannot hear from you after October 7th that you've accepted an offer. Any offers that you accept, I must be notified of by October 7th. And then the remainder of the calendar year is listed here as well. And again, I'll send that all in a recap email for you to have in writing to refer to as well. All right. So if you have any questions, if you think of them right now, you can go ahead and type them into the box, or if not, my email address is listed there. If my name is too hard to remember for some reason, or you forget it, you can always shoot an email to real@emory.edu. I get all of those emails as well. It's super easy to remember, real@emory.edu, or just shoot me an email at sahar.solik@emory.edu. All right, so we're going to read through these questions and answer them get through as many as we can in the time that we have allotted, and hopefully we can get through all of these. So Sandhya is asking, will the PowerPoint be available to us afterwards? Yes, it'll be sent to you guys later after this, at the same time that we can send out a link of the webinar video.
Mm-hmm. Marie is asking, since we are technically Emory employees, will we receive any kind of tuition discount?
Nope.
Just bottom line.
Yeah, bottom line, nope.
Susie is asking, by which date are students typically employed? Is this something that always happens prior to the semester start?
No, you're not. No. You're not employed. You can you begin applying for jobs on August 1. And that hiring process or interview process can happen on any timeline. Organizations work on different timelines. So let's say organization A likes to receive all of its applications at once and then sit down and review them. Some of them start to review applications on a rolling basis. You have no idea, so that's why it's to your advantage to apply early and apply often as you see jobs that are posted. And between August 1 and October 7th is when students can be hired for a position to start.
Yeah, and we have plenty of students that show up for orientation, the week before classes, and they start freaking out because they talk to other students that may have got a position, mm-hmm. and then thinking they're behind, and by no means are you. Most of our students are showing up for classes when classes start without already being employed.
Absolutely.
So don't let that freak you out. Jadaswala, and my apologies for any names that I'm totally butchering, is asking, hi, I'm currently working with a professor at Rollins. She's explained that my job can become a real position. Does that mean I should stop working until HR has changed my information to indicate that it is real?
No, just make sure you get in contact with me. Send me some specific information about who you're working with. That way we can make sure that we set up a separate position assignment that's for real. And we can make sure that there's no gap between the time that you're working with them in a non-real position and when we can roll over to your real award. So shoot me an email and be specific about who you're working with.
Evan is asking, will we be competing with standard job applicants from outside of the REAL program?
Nope. The only students that are applying for REAL positions are students with the REAL award. And also, when you're looking on the student job site on the ROL, or what's also known as Handshake, all of the REAL positions will begin with REAL 2016, or 2017, I'm sorry. They'll have the word REAL at the beginning, so you'll know it's specifically a Rollins Earn and Learn position, and that way you can filter the job search for those.
All right, Victoria's got a couple of questions. First up, are second-year students required to attend in-person REAL orientation?
Yes, if it is your first time receiving the REAL award, you must attend an orientation. If you received it last year already and you attended an orientation session then we have it on record. But be aware, be honest about this, because we do have on record whether you've ever attended a REAL orientation or not.
And then her second question, I was an Emory student employee in my first year. Do I need to complete the online hiring orientation and the I-9 form again?
For Victoria or any other students similar to Victoria's situation, no, you do not need to. Should HR be missing any information from your records, they'll just contact you directly when they receive your, if and when they receive your REAL hiring paperwork.
We've had a lot of questions asking about the links. We know that you can't click the links through this because this is just a webinar that you're viewing, but as Sahar said at the beginning of this, the actual PowerPoint presentation will be emailed out along with the recording of this webinar. So we're not going to address each of those individual questions about the links. So just know that that's being answered through this now. Yuting is asking, the acceptance and deadline are by 8/1 or before 8/1?
We just encourage you to let us know if you plan on accepting your REAL award and intend to apply for jobs. Go ahead and accept your award in Opus around August 1 as much as possible.
Lucas is asking, is the $2,000 a semester award before or after taxes?
So your $12 per hour rate is taxable. So that's why you need to think about it, just like any other job.
Yeah. Santaya is asking, can we look for non-REAL jobs on the ROL before August 1st?
Probably not, because you're going to receive your Handshake or ROL access right about August 1 anyways.
Yeah. The Career Services Office will send that out early August. It's usually August 1st. Raina is asking, are interviews for REAL positions typically in person or phone?
Depends on the organization, but you should expect that they should all be in person. Some of them will do an initial screening on the phone first, and then they may ask you to come in for an in-person interview. It just totally depends on the organization.
Camilla is asking, will employment opportunities require background checks? If so, can we get those done before we choose an accepted position?
Actually, it just depends on the organization. It's not something you need to do beforehand. Most organizations actually do not require one. Should they require one, they'll just ask you individually. Very rarely I'll get students circling back with me. So don't worry about going out of your way to pay for anything right now for a background check.
Zan is asking, hi Sahar, to reaffirm, REAL positions can count towards Practicum hours, but we must talk to our ADAP first.
First, you need to you need to talk to your ADAP, see what your department's requirements are. It may be that a REAL position doesn't necessarily meet your department's requirements, so just you need to talk with them beforehand.
Devin is asking, how many credit hours do first-year students usually take who have the REAL award?
Oh, well, we have so many students employed through this program. Again, over 500. It just totally varies. It's just your personal opinion on what you can kind of handle.
Yeah, most students, I would say, in their first year taking, what, 15 or so?
But yeah, maybe less than that, maybe more than that, just totally depends. 9
hours is minimum to be considered full-time before it starts negatively impacting your financial aid awards.
Yep.
We already asked that. Benjamin is asking, are there typically enough positions available for everyone to receive one?
Typically there are, yeah. There's last year, of the number of students that received the REAL award, we had 92% who secured a REAL position. Typically that's smaller, 8%. We found our students that maybe weren't interested in a job or just had a paid opportunity elsewhere or weren't trying very hard to look for an opportunity.
Adobe.
But again, it's not a guarantee that you have the REAL award that you'll get a job.
Yes.
So don't be in that mindset.
Adobe is asking, as a second-year student, would we have to attend the second-year session on the 24th along with the sessions on the 22nd or the 23rd?
No. That slide has mentions it very clearly that if you're a second-year student, receiving the Real Award for the first time, you just attend that one session that's designated on that slide.
Claudia is asking, what is the Rollins HR email address again?
It'll be listed in the PowerPoint presentation that I'll send out after.
Kristen's asking about taxes. We already covered that. Yes, all taxes will be removed just like any other job.
And it totally depends on how you complete your forms in that online orientation as well.
Yeah. Sadif is asking, what are the important dates for spring semester?
They'll be on the timeline that I send out, so you can you should have the information you need to get you started for the fall.
Chelsea is asking, can we submit the I-9 documents before the August 1st deadline?
There's no August 1 deadline, first of all. August 1 is just when jobs go live. And yes, actually, please go ahead and if you do have your passport or some other form of I-9 documents, go ahead and email those to HR. That email will be in this presentation that I send out later. So just hang tight until I resend out the presentation to you guys.
Evelyn's asking about non-real positions through the ROL database. All positions will be posted through that, but again, you won't have access to it until early August. Aaron's asking, how important is how important is prior public health experience?
Aaron, to answer your question or any other students who may have similar questions, we actually have students coming from all previous types of work or academic experiences, plenty of students coming straight from undergrad who may have never worked somewhere before, may have only volunteered, either or perhaps a student who's come in with 10 years of work experience that may have not been related to public health at all. So you have skills and experiences that are very valuable to the types of positions, regardless of whether they're public health or not. So don't be worried about that. We can always work with you, or you can meet with Career Services Department as well to see how you can kind of make sure to enhance or lighten certain parts of your resume to show that.
Grant's asking, I graduated from Emory College in 2015. Do I need to redo the I-9 documents?
Yes, just to be on the safe side, if you're coming from Emory undergrad, go ahead and send it to our Rollins HR here to make sure that they have it in their system.
Megan says, are we being awarded the $2,000 a semester plus $12 an hour? When it comes to financial aid, should we count the real award towards cost of living, or do we need to make sure we have outside resources to cover the aid?
Okay, so to explain again, if you apply for a real position and you do get an offer and you accept an offer, you start working and you're paid at $12 per hour. That $2,000 is the maximum you're allowed to earn in a given semester, which means at $12 per hour, you cannot work more than 166.5 hours in a given semester. If you work that full 166.5 hours, then it means that you would have earned $2,000 prior to taxes. So just take that into account as you're kind of budgeting. Again, there's no guarantee that you're going to receive, a job offer and accept a job offer. So just kind of plan accordingly.
All right. Stephanie asks, if you receive real your first year, do you need to reapply for real for your second year? Also, if you had real your first year, are you more likely to get it again in your second year?
So the first part of your question, yes, if you want to be considered for the real award for your second year, you need to reapply by submitting a completed FAFSA that becomes available as early as January 2017. Again, we award on a first come first served basis. Whether you receive the real award or not in your first year does not matter at all.
Jean is asking, if we accept more of the real grant, does that mean we have to work longer hours?
So you're not exactly accepting more of a real award. I mean, you have the real award, which is an indication that you can earn up to a maximum of $2,000 in a semester should you accept an offer.
Claudia says, is Rollins HR separate from Emory Healthcare HR?
Yes.
Okay.
Short answer, yes.
Yes. Also currently an employee at Emory Healthcare and want to know whether to submit HR docs again.
For this particular individual who asked this question, please shoot me an individual email. I want to make sure you are not in a benefits eligible position, which may only eliminate you from being considered for a Rollins Earn and Learn position since it's a student assignment. So please send me an individual email regarding that question.
Stephanie's asking, you said the real money is taxable, so that means we'll receive a W-2 for our income.
Yep.
Yep. And it'll come from Emory because you're technically an Emory employee. Manon is asking, do we need to have a security clearance to work for CDC?
Yes, you do, and that's something they conduct extensively and entirely on their end at the CDC.
April says, I responded to a request for a first-year graduate research assistant with an epidemiologist at the CDC. He said this could be a real position. Is there anything I can do to streamline the process of getting that position posted and secured?
Please go ahead and send me an individual email and I can help you with this and we can explore further. Thank you.
Michael says, when the opportunities are available, is there a way to search the positions based on the nature of the work?
There are some search filters in the ROL, or what's known as Handshake, in the student job site. So once you have access to that system, you can kind of explore all the different ways you're able to search for jobs by key terms, types, etc.
Oh, and then I see on here he's asking specifically if it's clinical or not clinical.
It just depends on how an organization tags it. Probably not. But to be honest with you, you should be able to tell from either organization or the job title whether it's a clinical type of position or not.
Yeah. Camilla's asking, are we allowed to hold a real award job as well as an alternative non-real job concurrently?
Yes, Camilla, you may. For example, when I was a student here at Rollins, I had a real position some years back. At the same time, I also had a teaching assistant position, which was not real, as well as a part-time position over in the School of Medicine. So yes, you can have multiple positions at once, with only one being real and the rest can be non-real.
Timothy's asking, can you work less than 10 hours for a real program?
Yeah, there's no minimum requirement. It's just honestly up to you. You want to be clear with that. I would probably say during the interview process or before you accept an offer to ask the employer again what their hourly expectation is. Work can naturally ebb and flow from week to week. There may be some weeks where there's fewer hours of work and some weeks that there may be more hours of work. Just depends on the organization and the type of work they have for you. So yeah, there may be some weeks where it's less than 8 hours or maybe closer to 8 hours throughout your semester.
Yeah. Sarah Ashley is asking, is the Career Services Department currently available to help review resumes as we are preparing them for the application process?
Sarah, no, they're actually just hang tight. They're going to introduce themselves during orientation week once you're here and let you know when you are able to access them for services.
And within the first week of school, they'll have like the Career Services Week on the bridge, which we've got a inside bridge that connects our two buildings. And so Career Services will set up on the bridge for that week and be available for drop-ins and have a lot of events going on surrounding Career Services to help you guys get acquainted with them. And additionally, they're working on launching a program called VMOC, which is a very high-tech resume review service. And so that is going to be released and launched for you guys to use as well. So you'll have that plus your in-person live opportunities to meet with the Career Services staff as well. But all that'll start once you're here as a student. Michaela is asking, do employers work with your class schedule to figure out the hours you can work, or do they have set schedules that you must follow?
Again, that's something you just want to clarify during the interview process. It depends on the company or organization. Some of them have more of a strict work schedule and want you in only certain hours. Others may have some flexibility for you to work remotely. So again, it's an important conversation, I think, for you to have during the interview process or before you accept an offer to be able to share what your class schedule is so they know your availability.
Benjamin is asking, is it accurate that you can work beyond the hour limit per semester if your employer pays for the full wage after the limit is reached?
Yes, it just depends on the organization. So that's something you can ask beforehand, or it just depends on the particular employer if they're willing to do that. But for the CDC, that's absolutely not possible. You are always cut off at 166.5 hours in a semester.
Evelyn is asking, could we receive the Emory employee tuition discount if we work for Emory Healthcare and decline our real award?
Not familiar with that, so
that would probably be a better question for Emory Healthcare HR.
Yeah, or if it's in reference to the courtesy scholarship of any sort. Again, real award is separate from any tuition discounts or anything, so if you have questions regarding that, contact your healthcare department.
Yeah. And Maria says, I haven't received the email about registering for orientation. Was that sent to our Emory email? So the information and dates for Rollins for the orientation registration has been in every email that's gone out. There wasn't a set specific one, but there's been 3 orientation emails that have gone out that have had all of the checklists and the dates and everything that needs to happen. It's also been posted on the admitted student portal for the past month and a half, and we also make Facebook updates about it. I know there was one that went up today about that. So just be sure that you're reading all of the emails that are coming from the office. If you're not seeing them, check your spam folder. And also on the admitted student portal in the orientation section, there is we post all of the email communications in the communication section as well. So if you've missed any, you can go back and view those there. There's been 3 that have gone out thus far over the course of the summer, and the 4th one will go out either late this week or early next week, and we have 1 more that's scheduled to go out just before orientation. And with that being said, orientation registration did open up today, and it will be open through Friday, August 5th. If that's a Friday, whatever that Friday is, it's open for 3 weeks. And then myself and Brittany Romanson, who is our Assistant Director of Student Life, we will be doing a Facebook Live session tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. So for those of you that have seen the Facebook Live things, it's basically just what Sahar and I are doing right now, but instead of seeing a PowerPoint, it's actually a video, it's a live video feed of us. And you'll be able, through Facebook, you'll be able to type in any questions you may have, whether it's about orientation, registration, moving to Atlanta, the city itself, the upcoming semester, or whatever it is. We'll take any of your questions and really kind of want to help assuage any fears or concerns you may have. And the way to view that is to just go to the Class of 2018 Facebook page, the group that we have. And even from there, excuse me, from there you'll be able to see the live session and type in any questions. So with that, Sahar, you got anything else?
Yeah, again, just I know Emily's actually been receiving some questions about the REAL program or the REAL award. Please direct any questions you have about those to actually me. I manage the program over here. I don't want to flood Emily's inbox with REAL questions. So again, if you have any questions about the REAL program, your REAL award, anything, shoot me an email at sahar.solik@emory.edu. If you forget that, go ahead and just shoot an email to real@emory.edu. I'll follow up with you after this presentation with this recorded webinar as well as the PowerPoint presentation separately. That later on I'll also send you your REAL student guidebook so you have the full program and policies and process in writing for yourself. Again, just go ahead and prepare your resume if you have a chance. If not, you'll have plenty of time to update it later on. But August 1, jobs go live and you can start applying for jobs then and on a rolling basis thereafter up until October 7th. Thank you all for joining the webinar, and I'll be in touch with you guys in the next week and a half.
All right. Thanks, everybody.